Good morning, Al Basid AB. Yeah, so it's a new week. So this week, we are starting this week on the 7th. Today is the 7th of October 2024, and the week will end hopefully by the grace of God by the 11th of October. Now, morning, Madam Onaji. So we'll look at the fundamentals for the week, and then we'll go over to the technicals. And before I proceed, last week Friday was quite a blast. We had a very good time trading the NFP. The data came out very, very good for the dollar. I think I should just flip back to that. The data came out very, very good for the dollar, and we saw a massive bullish breakout on the dollar. We traded USD CHF and the trade triggered and went massively in profit. So that was quite a good one, from NFP. Before now, NFP has been unstable for like 2 consecutive months, but it was a good thing we had a good data yesterday, which gave us good data on Friday rather, which gave us a very good result. So this week, I mentioned NFP because that was a major event for last week. Now, the major event for this week is actually the CPI, which is coming up on Wednesday. We'll look briefly into that, but let's just get started with other events we have first before the CPI. So today, Monday, we have bank holiday on CNY, so we really don't have any tradable fundamental event for today. So the week starts fundamentally tomorrow, Tuesday, 8th of October by 1:30 a.m. And it's going to be monetary policy meetings from Australia. Monetary policy meeting from Australia is going to come up by 1:30 a.m. tomorrow. And on Wednesday, by 2 a.m., there'll be official cash rate, RBNZ rate statement, from New Zealand. RBNZ means Reserve Bank of New Zealand. They're having their own interest rates. That's what this is all about. And I told you before, interest rate, some countries call it cash rate, some call it interest rate. United States calls it FOMC. It's all the same. So we're having that on Wednesday by 2 a.m. And by 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m. On Wednesday, we have the USD crude oil inventory. This is very important for trading crude oil. And by 7 p.m. on Wednesday, there'll be FOMC meeting minutes. Now, this is not the major FOMC, but then it's part of it, though. It's coming up on Wednesday by 7 p.m. And on Thursday, we have the main events, one of the major events for the week, and that is the CPI from Australia. Now, it's coming up simultaneously, though, with the unemployment claims. So on Thursday, we have CPI, core CPI by 1:30 p.m. simultaneously with CPI monthly and CPI yearly and unemployment claims. 4 events happening simultaneously on Thursday. And on Friday, we have the GDP from the United Kingdom. That's gross domestic product. This is equally a major economic event. And same Friday, we have the employment change and unemployment rate from Canada. Now, this is Canada's version of NFP. Now, most times it is released same day as the NFP, but in some instances, it may be, if it's not released same date, it will release the next Friday. So usually it will have been released last Friday with the NFP, but then it's coming up this Friday, by 1:30 p.m. So it's equally a major event which will move the market. And Friday also, simultaneously with the employment change and unemployment rate from Canada, we have the core PPI from the United States and the PPI. And 3 p.m. on Friday, that'll be the prelim UOM consumer sentiment. All right, so these are the events, these are the major and tradable events we have for this week. We can mark our calendars and plan to trade these events as the week unfolds. Like I said earlier, we don't have any tradable fundamental events for today. So I'll flip over now to the uh, MetaTrader platform so that we'll look at the technical setup we have in the market for the week. Now, because the NFP came last week, it was quite good. The market has been recalibrated for major moves, which we'll see unfold this week, from the technical perspective. Now, this is the dollar index. Now, the dollar index, as we can see, let's start from the monthly time frame. The dollar index, is trading at a support level, a support zone rather, on the monthly time frame, and that indicates that we are expecting a bullish movement, in the dollar index. And because the news last week, Friday, came out, good for the dollar, we can see that last week closed as a bullish engulfing candlestick, which is also indicative of a bullish continuation, on the dollar. And finally, we have the daily time frame. And on the daily time frame, we can clearly see that price has broken out above a resistance level over there. And equally, it has broken out above a trend line. So with the event of the news last Friday that came out good for the dollar, that means that technically we have strength on the dollar. So that means we expect dollar to buy further in the course of this week. Now, it's possible for us to experience some retracement. It's a 50-50. We might experience some retracement. It's not a must of price to retest this previous resistance on support. It may not, but we may experience a retracement before we have a further continuation. But generally speaking, the major trend for the dollar for now is a bullish trend. So let's watch out for that. Now that takes me to the USD CHF. Now for the USD CHF, price has been trading around the support level on the weekly time frame. And with the event of the news last Friday, we can see that the week closed with a very big bullish candlestick there, which indicates a bullish continuation, because price has been reversing. And finally, price broke out above the resistance level here. If you follow my analysis last week, I said that price was ranging on the daily time frame on the USD CHF. So with the good news of the dollar last Friday, price has broken out above that range and ready to make a bullish movement, going forward. And with the news, with that breakout, we can see that price actually also broke out above the trend line. So we are also in a bullish move on the USD CHF, and that's a reflection of what we are seeing, from the dollar index. Now, just like I said for the dollar index, price may retrace before we see a further continuation in the bullish direction. However, this is how we can trade the USD CHF this week. And what we can do is this: since price is, ready for the bullish movement, we will wait for price is already retracing slightly, as you can see some bearish candles. We have a rectangle here. Anytime price breaks out above this rectangle, it will be a time, to trigger a buy on the USD CHF. Now, it can happen on either 1 hour or 4 hour. The entry time will be based on our individual preference. That's the 4 hour. This is the 1 hour. 1 hour, we may see a breakout, a retest, and a further continuation. So however it comes, whichever time frame, we can look at taking a bullish breakout, taking a buy trade on the USD CHF. Now, for the USD card, from the weekly time frame, we can see that price has been trending up. We've been on an uptrend on the USD card from the weekly time frame, which is indicative of a further bullish continuation. And again, we also have a valid support zone, and that's this rectangle box you can see here. We have a valid support zone also, which is indicative of a bullish breakout. And thirdly, we're seeing what looks a lot like the formation of a double bottom pattern, which will lead to a further bullish breakout. So from a lot of angles, we have a bullish sentiment on the USD card, and that's just okay, because we have a bullish, sentiment already on the dollar index. So generally, we're seeing that USD CHF and the USD card have a bullish outlook. Now, if we go over to the daily time frame, we can now see that price is trading around the neckline. Price is close to the neckline region, which is a previous support turn resistance. Price is just at the tip of that zone. So two things will happen here. If there's no sufficient volatility, price may retrace before the breakout. But if there's enough volatility to push price, we may just see a breakout straight up from here. And don't forget that this is a double bottom pattern. So that will give us a massive bullish breakout on the USD card. But we need to trade this with a lot of caution and wait for the actual breakout. It's possible for price to still break out, retest before it continues. Whichever way it comes, we have to trade this with a lot of caution. But technically, I'm bullish biased on the USD card. It's also a swing, it's more of a swing setup, just like what we saw on the USD CHF. Then we're looking at the Euro USD next. Now, for the Euro USD on the weekly time frame, we can clearly see that price hit a resistance level right here last week, and we closed the week with a massive bearish candle indicative that the resistance level actually held. Now, if we flip to the daily time frame, we can clearly see that we have a chart pattern here on the daily, which is a double top pattern, which is indicative of a massive bearish breakout because we're looking at the daily time frame. Now, price has clearly broken out below the neckline. That's a candle for last week, Friday, closed below the neckline, which means we're expecting a further decline, this week. And finally, we also have a trend line right here, and price has also broken out below the trend line, which is telling us that we are expecting a decline in the Euro USD going forward. So it's possible maybe today, anytime before we get the massive bearish breakout, we may see a retracement. Price may retrace to touch the trend line or the support on resistance. It's not a must, but it may happen that way. But let's just watch carefully before we experience the breakout. But what is most important is that whenever price breaks out below this recent low, then that is when we can trigger a sell on the Euro USD. Now you can trade this on any time frame of your choice, be it 1 hour, 4 hour. And if you have a large account you want to do daily, you can, because even on the daily time frame, RSI is clearly below 50 and MACD is clearly below 0. So we have Euro USD is quite weak at the moment, and it's very much in order because the dollar is very strong fundamentally. The dollar is strong technically, so it's just in place for Euro USD to be weak, technically. And with the pattern we're seeing, the double top pattern, it means we're looking for a massive bearish breakout on Euro USD. All right, so that's my view on the major pairs, everything that has to do with the dollar. Okay, I'll take a last one on the major pairs, and that is gold. Now, gold has seen a massive bullish breakout for quite a long time, as in since, for let's just say some months, but since around February this year, we've been on an uptrend, on gold. This is February this year. We've been on an uptrend on gold, and eventually gold evolved into forming a rising wedge pattern. And if you observe in the last couple of weeks, I've been mentioning that trade gold with a lot of caution, because that's just the reality of what gold was giving us that time. But I think the coast is getting clear for a directional bias on gold, because currently we can see that price, even though price, made higher highs by touching the upper trend line of the rising wedge, but then currently we're having what is looking like a double top pattern on gold on the daily time frame. And if price breaks below the neckline, then we'll be getting ready for that decline, which we have waited for so long for. So if you're a gold trader, you need to, it does not mean you should sell now. What I'm saying is that wait for price to break below this neckline. We're seeing a double top. We're waiting for price to break below the trend line at the neckline. That's this line at 2634.20. That's when we can trigger a sell. And even when that happens, don't forget it's a daily time frame we're looking at the moment. Price will break out, may retest before a continuation. So we're having a bearish outlook, but then our entry should still be done with a lot of caution. But then I'm bearish biased on gold for this week, all things being equal. All right, so that's all on everything, dollar. Now, there are some other pairs that are likely going to move this week, which I also want to show us. And the first one I'll show us is the Euro AUD. The Euro AUD. Now, the Euro AUD on the weekly time frame we can clearly see that last week Friday candle closed as a rejection candle, and not just a rejection candle, it happened at a support level. So that indicates we are to look for a bullish breakout on the Euro AUD. And also we equally have a trend line here that connects both the candlestick, not this candlestick is not even an ordinary candlestick, it's a doji, so we have a trend line that connects the doji with the support level, which gives us a confluence there, which will lead to a bullish breakout on Euro AUD. Now, if we flip down to the 4-hour time frame, we can clearly draw a trend line right here, a second trend line to give us a falling wedge pattern. A falling wedge pattern is a bullish breakout pattern. So technically, we're looking for an opportunity to buy Euro AUD this week. However, I will suggest you wait for clear breakout before making entry. Yes, price has clearly broken out, above the trend line, but then we have a range at the moment. Price is ranging around this zone. So it's possible for price to decline to test the trend line on the weekly time frame and the support before a breakout. That's possible. Or price may just break out outrightly above the zone. Whichever one happens, what we need is price to break out above this resistance box for us to trigger a buy on Euro AUD. And the profit potential on this trade can be very huge. It can be in the range of, if you look at entry around Fibonacci 23.6, so Fibonacci 38.2 can give as much as 91 pips. So Fibonacci 50 can give about 162 pips, and to Fibonacci 61.8 can give about 230 pips. So there's a massive bullish potential. However, you can trade this either as a swing or 1 hour as intraday, depends on your trading style. But whichever way it comes, if you're trading 1 hour, I will advise you wait for a breakout and a retest before you trigger your buy. That retest is very, very important, especially for intraday traders. For swing traders, you may just enter outrightly, but for intraday traders, it's advisable you wait for a retest before you look for a continuation. So I'm bullish on the Euro AUD for this week, and I'm also bullish on the GBP AUD. Now for the GBP AUD, on the weekly time frame, last week also closed as a rejection candle. You can see clearly rejection candle, which is indicative of a possible bullish movement. And if we go down to, but now, okay, sorry, still on the weekly time frame, we can clearly draw our trend line again. And we can see that price is in an uptrend, which means we're looking for a bullish continuation also. And finally, on the same weekly time frame, we can see that price also hit a support. We have a support, a valid support here, a resistance, turn support, and this candle. So we're looking for an opportunity to buy the the GBP AUD on the weekly time frame. If we flip to the daily time frame, we can clearly see that last week also ended as, a bullish engulfing candlestick there. And on 4-hour, we can see we have a formation of what is looking like an inverse head and shoulder pattern, which will lead to a bullish breakout. Finally, we have a falling wedge to back that up, into the bullish breakout. So we have a bullish setup we're looking at on the GBP AUD. And this one also, comes with a huge profit potential, because price can trade as much as, even if you're looking at intra Fibonacci, just a little above the current high, that's about about 80 pips to Fibonacci 50. Then about 150 pips there about to Fibonacci 61.8. So that's my outlook on the GBP AUD. I'm bullish on the GBP AUD. It's a swing setup just like the Euro AUD. Though Euro AUD, like I said, you can trade it both on the 1 hour and swing. Even same this one also, you can also do a 1 hour, but just in both cases, you might be looking for a retest if you're doing 1 hour. But if you are taking 4 hour, just once price breaks out above the neckline, you can trigger, your buy trade. But for this GBP AUD, because it's a head and shoulder, the neckline will a break above the neckline will be your perfect entry. Like currently, price is approaching that level. Once price breaks out above this place, you can look at taking your entry. Because it's already completing the second shoulder, and we should see a breakout from there. So I'm bullish on the GBP AUD and the Euro AUD. Now, US oil is a setup. Now, all the setup I've been given so far, we've been looking at more of swing and entry on 1 hour, but there's one that has a specific 1 hour entry, and that is the US oil. And I have my attention a lot on this particular instrument. Now, for the US oil, on the daily time frame, we can see that last week candle closed as a rejection candle. Now, not only that, we also have a descending trend line that touched that rejection candle, indicating that we're looking for a bearish movement on this instrument. Now, another confluence for me is the Fibonacci tool. Since we're looking for an opportunity to sell, I took my Fibonacci from the most recent high to the most recent low. And the outcome is that I have my Fibonacci 50 exactly at the tip of the body of this rejection candle, which is acting as a further resistance and giving me a further outlook for a bearish movement, on the US oil. So technically, I'm looking for an opportunity to sell the US oil on the daily time frame. I have three reasons for that. One, I have a rejection candle on the daily, I have a descending trend line on the daily, and I have price eating Fibonacci 50 on the daily time frame. So I'll flip over to the 1 hour, and on the 1 hour, I have the formation of a rising wedge pattern. Now, as of last night, I was seeing the formation of a head and possibly a shoulder here, which I still view, which may lead to the bearish movement. However, eventually when the price opened for the week, it opened with a gap. But price is currently, retracing to test the trend line. You can see the current candle here is a rejection candle. Once price breaks below that level, we may be looking for an opportunity to sell the US oil. Now, this one is purely an intraday setup, which will trigger hopefully today. Now, if you cannot trade the neckline breakout, we can as well have a minor support zone here. So when price breaks out, once you have a new candle below the support zone, you can trigger a sell on the US oil. And at that instance, please confirm that your RSI is clearly below 50. That's the additional confirmation you need, to trigger a sell on the US oil. So I'm bearish on the US oil. And profit potential for this also will be in the range of this is Fibonacci 23.6 to Fibonacci 38.2 can give you about 23 pips. To Fibonacci 50 can give about 23 pips, and to Fibonacci 61.8 can give about 33 pips thereabout. So if you add all together, at least 23, 33 can give you about 56 pips. It's not bad for an intraday setup. So I'm bearish on the US oil. Okay, I think I've mentioned almost all, though I want to hold back on a few ones. All right, I'll give you the AUD JPY, and I think we'll stop there. Okay, now I have a setup on Euro CHF, which I'm watching. I'm watching it quite closely, and let's see if it will evolve into a trade. It's also a 1 hour setup. We need some of this 1 hour setup for people who are purely day traders. Everybody is not a swing trader. So for this one, it's equally purely a 1 hour setup. We have this descending trend line on Euro CHF, And the candle that closed last week closed as a rejection candle. So we're expecting a bearish continuation, today. It's intraday. That's on the daily. So if we flip over to the 4-hour, we can clearly see that we have, a rejection candle there, which is also indicative that we should be looking for an opportunity to sell the Euro CHF. And on the 1-hour time frame, we have a rising wedge pattern. Okay, we have a rising wedge pattern, and we equally have a resistance on the 1-hour. All right, so I think price is trying to form something that is a bit close to a shoulder, a head, a second shoulder, then maybe give a drop. So let's put our attention on this. You're a day trader. Day trading today, strictly day trading, we're looking at the US oil and the Euro CHF. Those are the pure 1-hour intraday setup. So I'm bearish on both of them, for today. Now for this Euro CHF, profit potential for this should be in the range of from Fibonacci 38.2 to 50 can give us about 13 pips. So Fibonacci 61.8 can give about 25 pips. 13 plus 25, that's about 48 pips, which is not bad, for an intraday setup. So I'm bearish on the Euro CHF, I'm bearish on US oil. And finally, I'm looking at the AUDJPY. The AUDJPY on the 4-hour, I'm bearish on this one. You can see we have a rising wedge pattern on the 4-hour time frame. Not only that, we already have a rejection candle in the middle there, which is indicative of a possible bearish movement. And also, on one angle, this is also trying to look like the formation of a double top. If it forms like that, perfect. That means we'll be waiting for price to break through the neckline to trigger a sell. And final reason why I'm looking at a possible sell trade on this is because on the monthly time frame, we can clearly see that price is trading on a previous resistance level on the monthly time frame. And at resistance level, we look for opportunity to sell. And this resistance level, it dates back to year 2008. This level has been holding since 2008. That's where price is at the moment. So if price cannot break out above it, then the next thing we expect on the 4-hour is an opportunity to sell. And it's very much in line because we're looking at buying Euro USD and we're looking at buying Euro AUD and GBP AUD. So technically it's right if we have an opportunity to sell on the GBP JPY. All right, that'll be my analysis this morning. Now, please, I want to sound a disclaimer here. You can see we've analyzed almost like 8 pairs. Are you to trade all of them? The answer is no. So whichever one breaks out first is the one you take. As much as possible, don't overtrade. Once you have like 2, 3 running trades, please ignore any other one. The idea is to give you multiple options because some of us, by virtue of our daily schedule, we're busy. Some of us will miss some of this setup. So if you miss one, there's another one to pick. That's the other reason to it. So the idea is not to trade all of them. The idea is to pick the ones that trigger first, and don't take more than 2 or more than 3 of them all. All right, so let me do a little recap of all the instruments I've analyzed. I said I'm bullish on the dollar index. I'm bullish on the USD CHF on both 4-hour and 1-hour. I'm bullish on the USD CAD both on 4-hour and 1-hour. I'm bearish on Euro USD on 4-hour and 1-hour. I'm bearish on the US oil on 1-hour. I'm bearish on the Euro CHF on 1-hour. I'm bullish on the Euro AUD and the GBP AUD on 4-hour. And I'm bearish on the AUD JPY on 4-hour. So that's all I've analyzed for us for today, and which is also the weekly outlook. So I'll take questions now because I can see some of us are already dropping questions and requests in the comment section. All right, Conqueror is asking me to check out Euro JPY. Euro JPY. All right, so most of the JPY pairs, we are actually expecting a decline in them. I really expected that last week because you can see price is back to this resistance level. We had a rejection candle last week from where we expected a decline, but for one reason or the other, the decline did not happen. Rather, it went bullish. So price is back to that resistance level. And you can see this resistance level, this is the weekly time frame, is also acting as a kind of a support here. Even if you don't want to ignore the support, we cannot ignore the fact that this is a resistance on the weekly time frame. So with that resistance on weekly, let's check out the daily. uh, Still have a valid resistance on the daily, then the 4 hour. Good. Now on the 4 hour, we can see that we have a previous rejection candle here, at this same resistance level. So technically, we'll be looking for an opportunity to sell the Euro JPY. And if we want to take it further let's look at both the 4 hour and the 1 hour. I can draw a trend line here. I can draw a second one at the back to form a rising wedge pattern. Okay. So we have a rising wedge pattern there, valid for both 1 hour and 4 hours. So if you're trading 1 hour, it's better because we're waiting for price to break out below the trend line to trigger a sell on the Euro JPY. And don't forget at the point of your entry, you need to confirm that your RSI is clearly below 50 for you to trigger a sell on Euro JPY. So we're bearish on the Euro JPY. So that's in response to Conqueror. Conqueror, we have a bearish outlook on the Euro JPY. Emmanuel, AUD card, please. I have a sell trade on it. All right, so let's look at the AUD card. All right, so this is the AUD card. Now, from my previous outlook on this instrument, we're expecting an opportunity to sell, because if you look at it, okay, let me look at it from the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, we have a resistance and a rising wedge, and here last week or so thereabout, or the previous week, price hit this confluence point. That's a point where we have an intersection between the resistance and the trend line, and that led to the current decline we're seeing. Now, price may still target, the lower trend line, but before that happens, if I flip down to the 4 hour time frame, what I'm seeing that is happening here is I see price trying to form a shoulder ahead. Now, it might go up for the second shoulder before the drop finally happens. So if you're on a sell trade, to be honest, I want you to brace up, because price may go up before it finally drops. Yeah, because what I'm seeing forming here from experience is a head and shoulder pattern. So if you're on a sell trade, there might be a buy. At least if you want to look at price hitting the previous shoulder, price may go up again for, on the average, maybe another like 30, 36 pips thereabouts. But let's just say average like 35 pips before we start seeing a drop in price. So the choice is just, you want to hold on, make sure you have enough capital to withstand it. Or if you feel the risk is too much, you want to close, then you can close the trade and wait for price to break out below the neckline before you trigger a sell. You wait for price to break below the neckline before you trigger a sell. So that's it. But currently, I'm expecting some bullish movement, at least maybe today, before price reverses to start selling. So that's in response to Emmanuel. Euro card. Now, most of these card pairs, the Euro card, GBP card, AED card, they are all getting ready for a kind of a medium to long term, bearish movement. For Euro card, now this is the Euro card on the daily time frame. I think I should start the analysis from the weekly. Let's go to the weekly first. Now, on the weekly time frame for Euro card, you can clearly see here that price, hit a support level recently. This is a weekly time frame. It hit a support level and formed a double top pattern, which will lead to a decline. That's what we're expecting now. So on the weekly, we're looking at the double top, which will lead to a decline. On the daily, we can see the double top. This is the double top pattern. So price is expected to break out, below the double top pattern. And on still back to the weekly time frame, we can see we have a trend line that is, trending upwards. So if price breaks out below the neckline of the double top, which is this other line here, you can see that we're at the current point of intersection now. If price breaks out below this, then we'll be looking to sell the uh, Euro card. Though on one side, because of the trend line, we may experience a bullish movement before we see the fall. But generally, because it's a double top pattern, except market structure changes, but from this double top pattern, what we are expecting should be a sell. But like I said, there can be a retracement before we have the final bearish breakout. So on the short term, I can say bullish. On the longer term, bearish for Euro card. USD JPY Alba Seed. Now for USD JPY, now even though we're bullish on the dollar, but most of the JPY pairs seems to be having a bearish sentiment, and that includes the USD JPY, because the USD JPY currently is trading very close to a resistance level on the daily time frame. So if price hits that level, it's possible for us to have a decline. It may go to break it later, but if it hits it, there will be a decline first before any other movement, on the USD JPY. So that's my view on the USD JPY. Mr. Johnny Gunn, what's your take on GBP USD? Now, since we're bullish on the dollar, we should be looking for an opportunity to sell the GBP USD. However, the GBP USD should be traded with a lot of caution. Now, you can see this by setup on the GBP USD. Now, we have a previous, okay, this may look clumsy. Let me start afresh for the benefit of those who may not understand what I did there. Now, we have a previous resistance, which has turned support here, all right? And that means we might expect a bullish movement. That's on one side. That's the weekly time frame. Now, the same weekly time frame, we also have a channel. Let's go down to the daily. Okay, so we have a channel right there. Now, price, and I think we have a support zone right here also. A resistance turned support. So technically, even though the dollar is, like I said, if you can avoid GPS for now, please do. Because this setup, even if you decide to remove this channel, let's just remove it for now so that it doesn't confuse some of us. We have a previous price currently is testing a previous resistance turn support. That is where price is at the moment. That is what is causing this slight rejection candle. Now, because the dollar is bullish, if the GBP decide to sell, it will sell to a previous resistance turn support from where it might still experience a bounce before maybe dropping further. That dropping further actually depends on many factors, including the CPI that is coming up this week. So this range there is a strong rejection around this place. Price might either go up or break out. So for me, if you can stay out of this guy for now, at least if you can wait till price touches this previous resistance or support ahead, we know that if it touches this place, at least there should be a bounce before a decline. That looks more like it. For now, just be careful until price hits this level. And if the volatility is strong, if it proceeds below that level, yes, you can look for more opportunity to sell. But be careful around GBP USD for now. Mr. Abasid, please let's pay attention in this session. It's not going to be easy to keep repeating all I've said over and over again, but I'll just oblige you for the sake of those who are just joining us. I said I analyzed the dollar index. I'm bullish on the dollar index. I'm bullish on the USD CHF on 4 hour and 1 hour. I'm bullish on the USD CAD on 4 hour and 1 hour. I'm bearish on the Euro USD on 4 hour and 1 hour. I'm bearish on US oil strictly on 1 hour. I'm bearish on the Euro CHF on 1 hour. Um, I'm bullish on the Euro AUD and the GBP AUD on 4 hour, and I'm bearish on the AUD JPY on 4 hours. So those are the setup I've analyzed. The video will be made available to you. The link to the video rather will be made available to you some minutes after the class, so you can still take your time, to watch and be updated on what we're trading for the week. Okay, I think I've attended to all the questions and all the requests right here. Please don't forget we're having CPI live trading session this Wednesday. Wednesday, we're having CPI trading. So if you're there, you don't have a funded account, kindly head over to our website, www.puprime.com, open a live trading account and fund it to be able to attend the CPI session. We're not playing here, we're trading live. You understand? For those who joined us on Friday, we traded live and we made money. The news came out exactly in line with our analysis. It came out good for the dollar, which was the analysis we had before the news was released. And those who traded made money. So your money, the profit you made will be dependent on your trading capital. So if you want to have big profit, then also make sure you fund and have a reasonable trading, capital or trading equity. All right, so that's going to be all for
Sorry,
this.
sir. Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Did you analyze gold? It's like
Yes, I did.
date gold.
Analyze
Okay,
gold.
and
I
is it
said
going
we're
to be
looking
on
for.
1 hour? Sorry, sir.
No, I didn't give the time frame for the analysis is daily, so we have to wait for an actual breakout before we know
Okay.
which time frame to use. But from what I'm seeing is, we've been on an uptrend for a long while, but now currently it's trying to form a double top on the daily. So I said if price breaks out below the neckline, we should wait for a retest of that neckline before we look for an opportunity to sell.
Okay.
So you can do
Thank
that
you,
on 1 hour. Yeah,
Thank you. God bless you, sir.
you're welcome, man. All right. Bola Mohammed, can I use AED JPY analysis for New Zealand JPY? Well, I will advise you analyze each pairs independently. Don't just say because this one is selling, so the next one that is related to should sell. So let's just look at the New Zealand JPY. Though technically most of the JPY pairs are looking bearish, but it's good to get the specifics so that we don't get into trouble, while trading. Now for the New Zealand JPY, this is what I'm seeing on the daily time frame. I can see on the daily that price is at a resistance level, or rather price hit a resistance level, on Friday, even today, price has hit that resistance level again today. And this one is daily time frame, so we can safely go down to 1 hour. So on the 1 hour, okay, let me check 4 hour. On the 4 hour, it seems most of the JPY pairs ended up with this, rejection candle on the 4 hour. I think around 2 a.m. this morning. Virtually all of them seem to be having this, at least all the ones I've checked. Okay, that was 10 p.m. last night when the week candle for the week opened. So this is telling us of a bearish setup on the New Zealand JPY. We can draw our trend line right there on 4 hour, and let's check it out on 1 hour also. So if price breaks out below, this trend line, then you can trigger a sell. So it's looking like it's already in a bearish movement, but let's follow the rules and wait for a clear breakout. So yeah, we're bearish on the New Zealand JPY, just like we are on the AUD JPY. All right, so that'll be all for this morning. Take care. Have a great day and a great week ahead. Bye-bye.
Same to you, sir.
You're welcome.